Hello, welcome to Upkeep in a Jeep. I'm going to be doing the water pump and fan clutch today. I did notice a leak this morning coming from down underneath the engine, and it is coolant. And saw these two spots, and it looks like the weep hole for the water pump is finally gone. So this is going to be a continuation of my coolant system and possible overheating. I've went through a bunch of different other things. I have videos of them, so check those out. And today is going to be the water pump. So here are the items you will be needing to do the water pump and fan clutch. Socket set. I have the factory service manual, some WD-40 antifreeze. This is the water pump tube inlet. I got the new one just to replace it. Some gasket maker. This is the water pump thermostat housing gasket maker. Water pump gasket. Water pump. Fan clutch. Anti-seize. Half-inch breaker bar and a torque wrench. Rented this from the auto parts store. Fan clutch wrench set with all these. It's going to be 36 millimeters. Right-handed thread. I got a wrench on one side. Wrong side. All right, quick update. It's already dark out. I had to go return the rental fan clutch wrench that I got from the auto parts store because it was so bent it wouldn't even work. I went to another one, they were closed. So what I ended up doing is I just have an adjustable wrench here, a 12-inch, and then I used another wrench on the bolt on the pulley, and I just whack it with the hammer and it came loose. So I'm going to pull the fan out, unbolt the 4 bolts on the shroud, and that all comes out at once. Oop. All of this has to come out at once. Just like that. Out. Just some cardboard taped up so you don't mess up any of the fins on the radiator. Half-inch over here. Those are all loose, so I'll loosen that up and pull the pulley off. Half-inch breaker bar right in there. Boom. Pull that off. Take a picture of the routing if you don't have the diagram, which I don't. There you go. Oh, good. That's already loose. A lot of Jeeps I see you have to pry that off, but that's going to come right off. So I'll take that off. Looking around, I'm glad I got that extra inlet pipe because it actually looks like that's leaking. And maybe that was the part that was the problem. But it does have 100,000 miles, so it's time to do the water pump anyways. And it seems like a little loose. We'll see once it comes out. 9/16, the idler pulley has to come off. Alright, it's the next day since I had to go out and get a different wrench. I couldn't finish last night, so instead I'm going to finish up this morning. But I did have a chance to use some caliper paint that I had. It's high temperature to paint the fan, and I think it came out really nice. I disconnected the heater line, and now I'm using a 1/2 inch, and I'm just going to start taking this whole thing apart. Undo this lower radiator hose and pull it out. There's 5 bolts, one here. I'm just slowly loosening it. One down here, and one all the way at the bottom in the center. The moment of truth. Let's take a pry bar. let me fix them. Alright, let's take a look at these. It looks like it was okay, but it's making some noise. But this here actually had to be replaced. So you actually have to take the whole water pump off to replace that. So this had to be kind of done anyways. One thing, make sure it is I think a reverse. Some have R's stamped into them, but just make sure that the impellers are spinning the same, like have the same pitch. Just be really careful. All this has to be scraped off. This is really the most important part. Put Teflon tape on the inlet hose. Probably good enough. You use a wrench, and then it has to be facing back towards the engine for it to end up. I used a razor blade first, then I sanded it down, scuffed it up. That is pretty clean. That's how you want it to look. I'm gonna clean these bolts off. They're pretty bad with a wire brush. I'm gonna take denatured alcohol. Some people use paint thinner or whatever, but really you just want to get the grease and anything else off of the front of this, and also do that to the mating surface of the water pump where that goes too. So I'm going to be trying this out. They say you could actually put the gasket on without using this, but I don't want to go through all this work and have any leaks. So I'm going to put a very, very thin amount all over this side, put the gasket on. The part with the seals goes towards the water pump. Then I'll put a little bit more on top of the gasket. And tighten. Just like that. While I'm waiting for that sealant to dry, I'm gonna put this on, the fan clutch to the old fan that I painted. Until it clicks. Alright, so it's been an hour. So this is 200 inch-pounds, and I'm going to tighten it like a drum head, alternating pattern. Torque the idler pulley back down. It's a 9/16 socket, 35 foot-pounds. So for the water pump pulley, I couldn't find torque specs anywhere in the factory service manual, and also like the steps in the factory service manual for this water pump, there's a lot of things that are really wrong with it. It says put 4 bolts in, there's clearly 5. They don't even mention putting this back on, so they skipped a ton of steps. So we're just going for it. I'm actually going to put some removable thread locker, just a tiny bit, because I'm not sure what the torque spec is, and oh, that's too much. And you really don't want that pulley flying off. So just a tiny bit, and maybe I'll torque it like 20 foot-pounds or something around there. Please let me know in the comments if anyone knows the actual torque specs. Put your hoses back on. Okay, next up, put the belt back on. Just as easy as that. Super easy without the fan on there. Now we can tighten these bolts up. I put that thread locker on there. Maybe that's why there's no torque spec, because it actually will spin. Wrench on one of the other ones. But you put everything all in at once. And then thread the fan on. This is not the easiest thing to do. We'll get it. Finally able to get it on there. And spin it. It's tight. Alright, I've put the 2 top screws in to the shroud. And now I should just go like that. Pull the cardboard out. Make sure it doesn't spin the other way. Tighten the fan shroud if you want to get crazy. It's actually 70 inch-pounds. But that's a bit much. Just snug it up. It's been over 24 hours, which that's what they tell you to do on the silicone package. So I waited the full 24 hours because I didn't have to drive anywhere. And it's time to fill it back up now. Another way to get all the air out is to disconnect one of the heater lines, put a funnel on it, and start filling it up. So now I'm topping it off with it raised up. Funnel, letting it just bubble out until there's no more bubbles. One more thing I didn't mention is you want to use a HOAT. It's a hybrid organic acid technology. So you can either use the Mopar brand and make sure you're mixing it with distilled water, or there's a Xerax G05 that I think you can use aftermarket. So if you have any questions or comments, ask me in the comments below, and so I'm gonna let it cool all the way down. See if I need to top it off. I'm going to go for a ride and see if it is any cooler. It already sounds better, and the fan looks like it's working better. And it looks like it's flowing through the system pretty well. So thanks for watching, and until the next time. Alright, so just a quick update. I've been driving around for a whole day. I also, last night, went on a trip about 20 minutes on the highway. Normally I would have gone up to 220, up to 230 degrees, even up to 240 and have to get off the highway. It never went above 206. And also now it's, as you can see, 98 degrees in South Florida. And it really hasn't even gone above 200. Stoked.